Welcome to St. Louis Presents.
And welcome back to town, Debbie.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You took the kids and everybody out to Washington, D.C. How was that?
We did. We had a great trip to Washington, D.C., kind of a family reunion. We had another reunion in the Dells this summer, so it's been a busy summer.
Wow, I lived in D.C. twice. I really love it.
It was great,
Yeah.
although the kids were museumed out, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, there are only about 400 museums there. Hey, we're going to meet a little bit later the author of a book, Make the Shift, which sort of talks about finding balance in your life. And I guess as a mom, maybe you can relate to that?
I can totally relate. I need balance, so I'm looking very forward to any tips that she has. Also, with going back to school, while a lot of parents are looking forward to getting the kids out of the house and back into class, it is a very stressful time for a lot of people, and it's no secret that suicide rates in this country have been going up. So we're going to talk a little bit about mental health and some signs to look for.
And there's an art fair, too, coming up.
Yes, the MOSAICS Fine Art Festival. So we'll take you to Old Town St. Charles and find out what makes this one special and unique, and lots of stuff for the kids, too, to keep them occupied.
All right, let's go.
Absolutely. This is St. Louis Presents. All that and more coming up. Stay with us. Do you know the risk factors and warning signs of a mental health crisis?
September is Suicide Prevention Month, and our first guest is here to talk about those signs and what to do when they're present.
With Provident Incorporated, please help us welcome Elizabeth Matuszek. Thanks
Hello.
for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it's been a very stressful, couple of years. It seems a lot of people are on edge. Going back to school, there are all kinds of things that can sort of touch off stressful situations. I guess let's start with young people, because we're talking about going back to school. So one of my big questions, having a young, teenager, they're moody. They do all these things that seem strange, and I think parents are oftentimes really confused. Is this normal teenage behavior or something that I really should be concerned about?
Right, and we hear that a lot. Teenagers are really trying to establish who they are as a person and being independent, and they're growing into that. So yeah, they can be moody. How do you know if there's a problem is if you ask. So kids that are isolating themselves, seeming particularly irritable, that can be normal. That could also be a sign of depression. It could also be a sign that they're having some thoughts of suicide. So the best way to find out what is actually going on is to ask and be available to listen and hear what your kids have to say.
How common are these suicidal thoughts just among people in general? I don't know if you can put a number in it. Is it 2% of the population, 10%? Do we have any idea?
Well, about 45,000 people died by suicide in the United States in 2017. That's almost the number of people that fit in Busch Stadium.
Wow.
However, there are also more than 278 people who think about suicide for every one person who dies and never act on it. It's very common for people to have thoughts of suicide and to work through that. Most people it happens once in their life, some people it happens more often, but using supports and coping skills helps them through it. What leads somebody to have thoughts of suicide? We know there's a lot of different risk factors that need to come together, kind of a perfect storm of troubles, whether it's financial troubles, social troubles, relationship, loss. For some people, when those things come together, it can lead to thoughts of suicide. And then also, mental illness is a component. Recently, the CDC came out with a report, though, in June, saying that 54% of people who die by suicide aren't diagnosed with a mental health disorder. Does it mean that they don't have one? Maybe they haven't gotten a chance to see somebody. But we're realizing that there's way more going on than just mental health.
So we talk about suicide in relation to depression and mental health issues, but we still have, I still hear it all the time when there are discussions in the community about suicide, and people will say things like, oh, that's such a selfish thing to do. Oh, how could they do that? And I think it's obviously a lack of understanding, but also when people say things like that, it makes someone who's feeling bad less likely to seek help, right?
Yes. When somebody says something along those lines, they mean it with the best of intentions. They believe that they are able to convince somebody to stay alive and not take their own lives by letting them know that they're going to impact other people with their death. However, when people say it's a selfish act, it does put a lot of shame and guilt onto that person, and so that person isn't going to reach out for help, at least not to that specific person, if they hear that. A better way of maybe talking with somebody is actually just to listen, ask what's going on in their life, hear them out very non-judgmentally.
I'm a little curious about that, the warning signs too, because I'd like to believe that we can tell if a friend is depressed and suffering from suicide, but then I read about so many cases where all their friends are shocked because they didn't exhibit any signs of depression. So how do you figure that out?
Right. Well, there may have been warning signs, but nobody teaches you what to see. This isn't something we learn about in high school or in college.
Because they don't necessarily act depressed, not everybody.
Right, that, and we are really, really good at masking and only showing the public the good side of us, the good things that are going on, and really keeping those more difficult feelings inside. Some people don't exhibit any warning signs. Most do but they're only noticed after the fact. When somebody tries to find answers to why somebody they know has died by suicide, then they feel like to put pieces of a puzzle together. And again, because somebody who's having thoughts of suicide, it could also appear to be depression or anxiety. You're not going to know unless you straight out clearly ask the person, are you having thoughts of suicide? And that is one of the most important questions, and how you ask it is also incredibly important. Sometimes people like to say, you aren't thinking about doing something stupid, are you? So really just being very clear.
And that doesn't work, is what
That
you're saying.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, you've pretty much just called the person stupid.
Right.
So,
You've closed down that channel of communication.
right, they're not going to give you a positive answer. It's really scary to ask. I've been in this field for a very long time, but asking somebody in person, it's uncomfortable, and it's never going to be comfortable, but it's necessary.
So say you've had that conversation, and even if the person says no, but you're thinking, otherwise, what's the best thing to do? Because, I suppose, does it depend on whether you're a parent, a coworker, a friend, a boss? Where do you go from there?
Anybody can help somebody who is having thoughts of suicide. There's this myth out there, it has to be a mental health provider, a doctor, anybody can help. So whether you're the parent, the friend, the coworker, I would suggest we have our 24/7 crisis hotline that's available, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. We also have our local lifeline with Life Crisis Services. You can always call and explain to the person who answers, these are things that I'm seeing, how do I best support this person? How do I help this person? And if you've asked somebody if they're having thoughts of suicide, they say no, but there's other concerning things going on, well, you've opened that door. So if they're saying no now, maybe down the road, they know that you're the person that they can go to talk about this because you've already taken down that stigma.
All right, we had some information up there on the screen for people to check out on social media, and the website right there. Is there a good number to call?
Sure.
A hotline number?
Yes, there are two numbers. So the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number is 1-800-273-8255. That's answered by a network of 165 crisis centers across the United States.
And I know we're out of time, but is part of the problem is that the individual doesn't feel like they can express it because it makes them dumb or a bad person or whatever preconceived notions they have?
We're really good at judging ourselves. And we feel like we have to be perfect. So there's that going on in their head, and the taboo and the stigma is so strong in our culture.
Right.
Well, thank you very much for this really important information. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so hopefully you got that information on the screen, and we'll keep it close to your heart if you need to help someone out. And we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about art. Stay with us.
Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back. The 24th annual MOSAICS Fine Art Festival returns this September. Joining me now to talk more about this year's event is Board President Richard Baum. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us down here. We enjoy this.
Almost your silver anniversary. That's impressive.
That's right. Very important.
Now, we have a lot of art festivals in the area. MOSAICS being around for 24 years, you're obviously doing something right. What would you say is really special about the MOSAICS Festival?
Well, MOSAICS is dedicated to teaching the public, the community, children about art and having them have a really fine experience. And we have artists that'll be at Juried Art Festival from over 17 states this year. There'll be 92 artists. And we really believe we have affordable art that people can not only enjoy, but they can afford to buy and take home and keep the rest of their lives. The other big part of our festival is the way we relate to children. We have the Children's Village where we'll probably have 700 or 800 children go through over the weekend, and they'll have different projects for different levels, different age groups, up to 14. And this year we're partnering with Art Unleashed from Chesterfield, and they'll be bringing out and performing, planning the events, having, I think they have 5 different projects they're going to have for the children. And the other item we do is what we call Art for Youth. So when the artists they come in and check in at the start of the art festival, we ask them for a donation, professional art, and they usually are very happy to do so. They give us a donation. We put that in a tent we have, and we allow people, children and young adults, 14 and below for a very nominal fee, $5 or $10, to go in the tent and pick out their own work of art.
Wow.
And they have to do this without their parents.
So without mom or dad, they can just go in and
dad.
pick out whatever they want.
That's right.
I bet that's a big attraction.
Yeah, it works out really nice.
I love the emphasis on kids because it feels like to me, and maybe I'm wrong, that when kids are very small, like in preschool, we put so much emphasis on art and being creative, and then we kind of beat it out of them as they go through school because they have all these other things they have to learn, and schools don't have time for art. But it is really an important part of growing up and expressing yourself, is being connected to that creative side.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they really enjoy it too. I think they enjoy the fact when their parents bring them that they're exposing them to the art and to see what they want. You never know what people are going to like.
And I loved what you said about affordable art, because I think that's sometimes a block for people when they go to an art fair, that they get there and they realize there's nothing really here in my budget.
And we really stress, you don't necessarily select artists based on that, but the artists that do the best at the MOSAICS Fine Art Festival are generally those that have beautiful art that's priced where people can afford it. We're also the only art festival in St. Charles County, and we really try to provide not only a great environment for the public, because it's on North and South Main in St. Charles, which is a great area for restaurants, for spending the day, for bringing your family, and the parking's free, the festival's free, and we just hope that people have a great time.
How's the relationship with the business community on Main Street? I imagine it becomes quite a weekend for everyone.
Well, that's what we've tried to be a festival that works with the business community. we leave spaces for some of the restaurants and so forth. We coordinate with them. The restaurants, actually, 2 of them provide meals to the artists on Friday and Saturday night. So we really have a good relationship, and we encourage people to come out and spend the whole day, not just show up and leave, because there's so much to do.
So this is coming up in September, so people should definitely mark it down. Is there a particular kind of art that MOSAICS focuses on, or does it run the whole gamut from paintings to pottery to everything?
Right. Well, let me first say also, Joyce Rosen, who established the MOSAICS Art Festival and was the creative genius behind the Foundry Arts Center in St. Charles, passed away this year, and so we're doing a lot to honor her memory, and we'll have a special award for the artist in her memory. But I'm trying to relate to what you just said, but I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, about Ms. Rosen and honoring her?
Yeah, about honoring her, but also the community is one of the, very much involved with the art festival, and we're very involved with having people from the entire metropolitan area come out and enjoy it.
Well, great. It sounds like a fantastic time. So definitely bring the kids. The Children's Village sounds like it's amazing. And there's live entertainment as well?
We have live entertainment. We have a stage where we have live entertainment Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And there are other acts that go on along the street during the festival. So we think it's just a wonderful way to spend a weekend with you, in a fall weekend, and hopefully the weather's great.
Yes, cross your fingers. You never know about September, but it sounds like a wonderful event. Richard Baum is with the MOSAICS Fine Art Festival. So there's some information on the screen there. It's September 14th through the 16th. stcharlesmosaics.org is a place to get some more information. Well, hopefully I'll see you out there in a few weeks. So thank you for sharing the information with us.
We appreciate the opportunity to do so. Thank you.
We need to check in with Steve Potter, who has some news for us. Steve?
All right, thanks, Debbie. Well, things have returned to normal at Belle Reve, but the excitement that the 100th PGA Championship brought to St. Louis still lingers. Record-setting crowds showed up for the historic event, and their enthusiasm left a lasting impression on PGA officials and the golfers alike. Perhaps Tiger Woods summed it up best by saying, quote, "The energy was incredible, but the positiveness of it all, I wish we could play in front of crowds like this every single week because this is a true pleasure." If you want to find out more about this year's tournament, visit pga.com. St. Louis Lambert International Airport will hold the 8th annual Art of Travel Gala this October. This year's gala, Northern Lights, Wonder of the Skies, is inspired by WOW Air's new nonstop transatlantic service from St. Louis to Iceland. The gala benefits the Lambert Art and Culture Program and will offer custom-designed pieces for purchase, including travel and fashion accessories, handcrafted jewelry, and more that highlight the vibrant style of St. Louis. The evening will also feature traditional tastes of Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Scotland, music by Starwolf, and a silent auction. Art of Travel will be held in Terminal 1's Concourse B from 6 until 9 p.m. on October the 4th, and if you'd like more information, visit artoftravelstl.com. The St. Louis Blues Enterprise Center, Stiefel Theater, and their partners are hiring as many as 300 new full and part-time positions for the upcoming season. With a wide variety of openings available, there's an opportunity for everyone. The Blues front office has full-time positions in sales, accounting, and technology. The Enterprise Center is looking to fill as many as 155 part-time hosts, security, and concierge openings. Stiefel Theater is hiring 50 guest service and security positions, and the Levy Restaurants has several full-time positions and more than 75 part-time openings for cashiers, bartenders, hosts, and more. There's also a variety of internships available for college credit. You can find more information and find the links to apply online at stlouisblues.com. And the Mizzou men's basketball team and Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club recently teamed up to offer a free basketball clinic to area youth. Our cameras were there, so let's take a look at what this unique opportunity meant for the community.
Oh, this is an exciting day. University of Missouri men's basketball has offered a free clinic to area youth, and we have given up our gym to allow Coach Martin and his coaching staff to really teach some skill development in our young people in the game of basketball. This is my third year as the CEO and president of Matthews Dickey, and this is the first time that we've had an instructional clinic of this magnitude for the disadvantaged young people here in St. Louis. I just feel like we have to do partnerships like this in order to change the trajectory of the young people in the St. Louis metropolitan area, keep them out of trouble and give them hope.
I think it's always important, one, to give back to the community. You have time, I think it's important that you give back, you pour into the community. And we do basketball things, but we also try to talk about life skills, the accountability, being respectful, being trustworthy, trying to tell the truth every day, listening to your parents, your teachers, and your coaches. So it's a lot of life skill stuff involved as well.
But the more important thing is that college is a pathway for them, whether through athletics or academics. And for Coach Martin and his staff to take time out of the busy schedule to, number one, to be great ambassadors for the university, but also let them know that college is a possibility.
Our next guest is a health coach and a transformation guru.
Her story was featured in Pop Sugar, and now she's sharing her tools for self-evolution in her new book, Make the Shift.
Please welcome to St. Louis Presents, Michelle Marie Brady. Thanks for being here, Michelle.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, you look lovely, so now we're like, okay, share all your secrets with us.
That's really sweet, thank you.
Well, first of all, let me ask you, when you get picked up on a site like Pop Sugar, what does that do for your social media presence?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
I'm still in shock. I would say that what it did for me was it affirmed my belief that we can be authentically our true selves and say and share what we need to say with love and authenticity, and the world will read it.
Well, you look really good, and you seem so positive to me now. Am I to assume there was a point in your life where you were not like this?
That is correct. Yeah, it was not so good for quite a long time. I struggled with weight issues, self-esteem, and body issues. I struggled with a lot through the beginnings of my career, becoming a business owner. I always felt trapped in a body that I didn't feel like me. So as I learned to stop dieting, stop following other people's rules and programs, and find out what actually worked for me and my mind, my body, and my lifestyle, things started to shift for me, and I saw change that felt like me.
Okay, so now we're really intrigued. I'm one of those people who kind of goes up and down. I hit on something, I lose the weight, I feel great, and then I hate myself later because I gain it all back. So I totally get the, but women especially, I think, we have that.
I feel your pain, Debbie.
We have that really mean person in our head who
Correct.
tells us all the time that we're just doing everything wrong.
I've probably lost 800 pounds. I started totaling, going back through my journals for the over 30 years of binge eating and yo-yo dieting up and down, and it was hundreds and hundreds of pounds up and down and up and down. It's a very frustrating.
So what do you do if you don't diet?
Yeah, how do you make the shift?
Yeah, right, exactly. And again, this is not really a weight loss book. It's really about making a shift to the best expression of you as a human in this moment. And it's about understanding your body, and through what I call 4 quadrants or 4 bodies. You've got your mind and your emotional body, your heart or your spiritual body, and then your physical body. So a lot of times we tend to get stuck in one or the other, and we try to solve the problem at the level of the problem, rather than making a shift into another area through which we can see ourselves and start to make incremental changes.
When we have problems in one of those 4 areas, do we always have problems in all 4?
I don't know. That's a great question. I hadn't thought about it that way. The answer is probably, but really I think what it is truly understanding that you don't have to look outside yourself for answers. People will ask me, well, what do you eat, or what diet did you do to change your body, or how did you do this to create that in your business? And the answer is, who cares? I mean, I'll answer the question, but if you're looking for my answer so you can take it and go do what I did, it's probably not right for you.
So I know about myself that I tend to stress eat and drink, and it's been a stressful couple of years.
Yeah.
In the news business especially. So,
Yes.
and if I know that about myself, now how do I make the shift
Yes.
to sort of change my mindset?
Yeah, so one of the exercises in the book will ask you to go into another area. So let's say you're using food or drink in those moments to solve the problem at the level of body, right? So maybe what I would ask you to do is go into the emotional area and notice for you what makes you feel better emotionally that's not related to food. That could be taking a bath or listening to music or going for a walk and getting into your body in a way that you have your dog next to you and you feel emotion that is pleasurable to you. So I would ask you to go through a series of exercises and really notice what makes sense for you, and then use those tools in the moments when you're stuck over here. I'm a binge eater. That is one of my things that I used in a self-destructive way. And so one of my tools was to get out of the house and go for a walk. That's a great, same example. So I would make a shift into another area and get my body moving for 10 minutes instead of, eating the bag of whatever that was about to go, into my mouth when my body wasn't actually hungry. My heart was hungry.
Yeah, you talk about how to treat these issues, but do we have to figure out what these issues are first?
Well, if you're
Not
happy,
just
you
the
don't need my
symptoms.
book, right? I guess.
I mean, do we need to know the root of our concerns? I mean, you talk about how to deal with it.
Yeah, I see what you mean now, and I don't think so. I think really the question is, how do I feel right now, and do I want more refinement in my tools that I use for self-actualization? Sometimes it's nice to sit down. I do it about once a quarter. I kind of go on a full day retreat and I start journaling. Where am I right now? How are things going? And I look at career and relationship and whatever, health and fitness or whatever it is, and kind of take a high level view and then use some of my tools and refine and create new ones accordingly.
So are there universal tools, or are the tools whatever I've personally decided? I mentioned before we just started the show that singing for me is a stress reliever. So is that my tool?
That's a good one.
It's a good thing you sing so well.
I won't do it here.
It's a good thing it doesn't matter. That's the best part about it, right? It really doesn't matter. Because when you're engaged in an activity like singing, like drawing or journaling, or one of my things on my list is calling a trusted friend. I have a handful of people. I can say anything I need to say to those people, and when I have a heart need that I feel stuck trying to figure out here, I pick up the phone and I call one of those people. So that's one of my tools, call a friend. These are very simple things you can create.
But we have to be introspective and honest with ourselves as we're
I knew
developing
there was a
tool.
catch.
I know.
You
See,
gotta
that's
be
the
real.
catch.
Yeah.
MichelleMarieBrady.com is the place to go, and you have an ebook, Make the Shift,
Yes.
so we can get it there. I'm definitely intrigued. I think we can all stand to be a little kinder to ourselves.
And we can all stand to be a little happier.
Yes.
Always.
Right?
Always.
Yes. We can always be happier.
Yeah, I
Although
know.
we're pretty happy, but
There's always more.
there's always room
Always
for
more.
improvement.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And we hope that you enjoyed this episode of St. Louis Presents.
We want to thank all of our guests that came and visited us today, and thank you at home for watching.
Yes, we'll see you next time.